Good morning, everyone. My name is Bill James, and I'm the APCUG Region 8 Advisor. I'm also a member of the Speakers Bureau, and it is my pleasure to give you the second on our series of APCUG workshops. And today we're going to be beginning the home automation for seniors. Over the next several months, we'll be discussing the various aspects of home automation. Next month, we'll be discussing where do I start. The following month, lights, doorbells, locks, and cameras. And then ending up in December, doing it yourself versus having it done. But today, we're going to answer that question, why do I need it? And I will provide you with 10 reasons why I think you'll want home automation. If you were a fan of the Jetson cartoon series growing up, you likely have dreamt of flying cars, a fully automated home, and a world where anything is available at the push of a button. Cars certainly aren't flying yet, but automated driving isn't too far away. And neither is the ability to control many aspects of your home automation with a few clicks. However, there's no sign of a Rosie, the robot, for every household just yet. But if you think about it, a Roomba vac comes pretty close. But has enough progress in home automation technology occurred to make it worth your while to smarten up your home so you can age in place? If you like the idea of being able to control your security system from afar and cut your energy costs, then you're one to pay attention. We're going to talk about 8 products that inspired today's smart home. The 2010 ushered in the modern age of smart home technology. Portable voice assistants designed for thermostats that adjust for you, robot controls, robot vacuums that you control from your phone. Let's travel back in time to acknowledge the early tech that inspired today's smart home innovations. While they weren't called smart home products, and they didn't sit in a designated section on store shelves, they certainly shared the same core goals as a 2020 smart home, that is to make daily life easier. These projects provided a bridge to the newer technologies that continue to be sold today. The very first example I'd like to talk about is programmable thermostats. Programmable thermostats were first introduced thermostats were first introduced way back in the late 1800s, but the programmable thermostats are a newer invention that are very common today. They expanded on the idea of traditional thermostats had to adjust manually by adding a degree of customability and automation. Traditional programmable thermostats didn't work with an app on your phone. Instead, you had to physically stand at your thermostat and set the schedule by pressing buttons or select the options on a touchscreen display. Many basic programmable models still work like that today. Regardless of the inventions made sense, programmable thermostats were quite a feat when they were first introduced. Basic non-smart models continue to be sold in hardware stores and online retailers. Our next example are slow cookers. Set it and forget it is a common phrase associated with slow cookers due to their much appreciated ability to save people time in the kitchen. First introduced in the 1950s, slow cookers are simple by design and continue to be a popular time-saving cooking staple today. Sure, you have to put the food in the cooker, plug it in, and press a couple of buttons to get it started. But the slow cooker handles the rest. Unlike ovens and other cooking appliances, you can safely leave home while your slow cooker keeps on cooking at a low, steady temperature. Most models, even the simplest ones, have timers that automatically switch over to warming your food when they're done cooking. Sprinkler controls. If you want more control over water in your yard, a built-in zone sprinkler is a nice upgrade, and they've been around for decades. Unlike the standard sprinkler you place on top of your grass and turn on and off manually, an irrigation system does the heavy lifting for you. The exact setup can vary based on your yard, but here's the gist. Sprinkler company installs the sprinkler heads in your grass and an irrigation or sprinkler controller in your garage or somewhere outside so you can access it easily. Sections of the yard are assigned different zones, and you can schedule your sprinklers to turn on or off at set times from the controller. Then leave it alone for the rest of the season to do its thing. Sprinklers are still widely available today. Then there's the old school outlet timers. Outlet timers like the one pictured here on the right are just old school smart plugs. They plug into the wall outlet and they have their own integrated outlet so you can connect holiday lights, lamps, and other electronics for customizable control. Traditional outlet timers have radial dials that give you a basic level of on and off automation within the confines of the timer's available settings. It is a simple concept, but these handy devices are readily available today. Given that they typically cost less than $20, they are affordable and a way to automate your home. Robot vacuum cleaners. The first retail-ready robot vacuum, the Electrolux Trilobite, hit the stores in 2001. Ran on batteries, roamed around collecting dust and other debris, then returned to its charging station when done. Then we have to look at alarm clocks. Traditional alarm clocks perform one simple, useful automation. You wake up via a preset timer. They don't have built-in phone docks or act as Bluetooth speakers, and they don't have any other multitasking features that define some of the fancy alarm clocks available today. Instead, they were, and still are, basic by design. There is nothing wrong with basic devices that perform one task reliably well. Now, for many of you hobbyists, can possibly remember X10 Devices. X10 is a protocol that was developed in the 70s. It uses radio frequencies to control, and in some cases, automate the dumb electronic devices in your home, similar to the outlet timer. X10 devices plug into outlets. They range from lamp modules to appliance models. Some X10 devices even give you the option to set timers and schedule scenes in advance. While somewhat limited, X10 lamp modules, for instance, are optimized for incandescent bulbs rather than LEDs. They are an affordable option. If you want to automate your home electronics without a phone app, X10 products would be what you would want. And they're still sold today. Then we have to look at the CCTV camera. The traditional closed-circuit television cameras are still common today. They give you the option to keep things simple and manage your systems entirely yourself without having to enlist a phone to access your feed or settings. Security footage is typically recorded on digital video recorders, or DVRs, or network video recorders, NVRs. So, looking forward, the smart home and beyond, there are countless other devices that predate the modern smart home that also tackle simple home automations. All 8 of these examples came before, in some cases long before today's smart home, but they deserve recognition as home automation devices. helped inspire other newer devices to emerge built on that basic automation. Enough, the thing that really was the missing piece to make home automation available as we know it today was Wi-Fi. Washington Post article that was in November of 1990 by an author named H. Jane Lehman predicted that the coming decade would bring a new wave of home automation. Decades before it became widespread, she even used the phrase smart home. But she also said that there was something missing. What home automation community is waiting for is an industry standard that will tell builders and remodelers how to wire homes for total automation. But connecting a smart home with wires wouldn't be the standard the industry was waiting for. No one knew it at the time, but Lehman and everyone else was really waiting for Wi-Fi. Without Wi-Fi, the smart home industry wouldn't exist. And without reliable Wi-Fi, today's smart home wouldn't work. The first thing that is needed to get started with smart tech is a reliable wireless setup. So just what is home automation anyway? So let's just look at the history of Internet of Things, IoT. First of all, we have to talk about that smart home is a broad term that applies to pretty much any device that works with your phone, TV, or a smart speaker. Despite the wide variety of products in the category, ranging from the sprinkler systems to fridges and security cameras, they all share a common goal, and that is to simplify your daily life. Our various home appliances can be connected, allowing us to control them all from our phones or another type of device. For now, some appliances can be controlled by using a Wi-Fi connection, but you also need a separate smartphone app or devices to tell them what to do. As Jennifer Toohey of Network World writes, the goal of the Internet of Things concept is to enable us to get our appliances to do what we want, and we won't even need to touch a button. For instance, you could simply walk into a room and your curtains would open, temperatures would turn up, and your favorite song would start to play. So the history of the Internet of Things begins here. A world of omnipresent connected devices is one of the oldest tales of science fiction. IoT Lure has dubbed a vending machine at the Carnegie Mellon that was connected to Operonet in 1970 as the first Internet of Things device. Many technologies have been touted as enabling smart IoT-style characteristics to give them a futuristic look. But the term Internet of Things was coined in 1999 by British technologist Kevin Ashton. Increases for the demand of these devices in the near future. Just look at this chart, and you can see that since 2015, that the amount of devices that are becoming available are growing exponentially. So by 2025, we'll probably be at the 75.4 billion level. But the concept of basically connecting any device with an on and off switch to the internet represents a giant network of connected things. Enable us to have our appliances to do what we want through Wi-Fi. Comparable devices connect with one software platform that can readily access data. We can see have security, which will allow us to access the history of our security camera feeds. We can also, at the same time, monitor our electricity, gas, and water. Instead of manually going up to the device and taking action, these actions can be taken at the press of a button or a voice. We can create routines and rules for certain actions that happen after certain triggers. The idea is that your home gets to know you and your family and automatically works based on what's happening without the need of your input. So ultimately, connecting the tech in your home to your Wi-Fi network and each other has many benefits. Controlling convenience, control anything in real time from anywhere, either through a voice-controlled hub with your smartphone or tablet. In all, it makes your life easier and saves you time. So smart devices makes it easier for us to perform certain tasks that might become more difficult as we age, which in turn will enable us to age in place. So ultimately, if you get set up with a compatible device and connect with one software platform, you could control a smart environment like the Jetsons. Some home automation systems are getting pretty close, giving users the ability to control temperatures and see who knocks at the door when they're away from home. Now that you understand how new home automation works, here are the 10 reasons you may want your home to keep up with the Jetsons home, at least a light version of it. So reason number one is heating and cooling. You can control for convenience. Smart thermostats learns your routines in using heat and AC. It avoids waste. It enables us to regulate the temperature during the summer heat and winter cold, and save money on heating and cooling bills. Interface with your garage door opening. So smart thermostats are the most prevalent option in this home automation space. We set it up so that the heat or air conditioning isn't running at full blast when you're away. You can also conveniently crank up the energy levels for when there's been a change in plans. Let's say you need to leave an activity early before you get in your car. You can use your smartphone app to turn the heat on so it's cozy when you get home. Another reason is reason number two is to save energy. Use your appliances at the right time, measure energy usage of individual appliances, automatic shut off for appliances, connect systems to power company for off-peak times, set heating and cooling to energy efficient temperatures. You also can stop appliance vampire drain. You can save energy in areas other than the heating and cooling systems of your home. Devices that draw energy, even when they are in standby mode or just when plugged in, can be completely shut down when they're not in use, reducing your home's vampire load. The Department of Energy estimates that vampire devices suck up a lot of power and accounts for about $100 of the average annual bill in the United States. You can save water. You can better monitor your water use. In some locations, the cost of water can fluctuate during on and off peak times. Adding sprinkler controls to your home automation system may qualify you for some rebates, while allowing you to control through a smartphone app how long the water runs, potentially cutting your water bill significantly. A system such as the Rachio, will even shut down the sprinklers automatically when the rain is in the forecast. You also can have leak detectors and automatic shutoffs for your washer, dryer, and bath or shower. Reason number 4 is to be able to watch your home. Tying security cameras into your home automation system could allow you to use an app to see when a visitor arrives, whether it's an actual delivery person or a thief posing as a delivery person. A common trick that's used among thieves to see if anyone is at home. By using a home automation system with the front door camera, you can see any visitors and respond to them audibly, making it appear as though you're home even when you're many miles away. You can also, in the same, tie these to your smoke and carbon monoxide. Number 5 is pets. Pet feeders for dogs and cats. Self-cleaning litter boxes. Check on your dog with a video camera. Give voice commands to your dog through your speaker. So you can make sure your dog isn't excavating the interior couch. You might even, the dog will probably be awfully surprised to hear the voice coming from an unknown place. Reason number 6 is lighting. You can control your path to and from any room in your house with voice commands. Be able to see upturned corners of rugs, walls, and anything else that could lead to injury. You can also schedule these lights to turn on and off, and as well as change their intensity. You can also control your security lights. If you have a series of security lights at your home, you can turn them on and off using a smartphone app or a motion detection. Or you can have the motion detectors alert you through the home automation system anytime they detect movement on your property. And the detectors could automatically turn on the security cameras you have as soon as they activate the lights. Reason number 7, automated door locks. You don't have to worry about your keys. You can skip key locks. Kids visiting, cleaning crew allows doors to be opened without you being home using a special code. You can check the status of your doors through a smartphone app at any time. You can make use of the electronic door locks that have numeric keypads and tie the devices into your home automation system. You'll be able to unlock the door through your smartphone app, allowing you to open the door for a repair person, even if you're not quite home yet. So all of this really reduces physical stress. Are you someone who can never seem to remember if you locked your home's doors or shut the garage door? Tying all your home locks into your home automation system gives you peace of mind. Doors lock automatically after a pre-programmed time, 2 minutes, for example. You also check the status of these locks through smartphone apps at any time. Reason number 8, alert home maintenance issues. Impending problems with connected appliances. You also can be alerted that your filters need changing. When your home has smart appliances, they can alert you of potential problems that you're having, such as a filter that needs changing. Perhaps your freezer is not reaching the proper temperature. It can alert you to this problem through the home automation system. It's nice to have a warning about potential impending failure of your freezer versus having no warning and coming home to a puddle on the floor and a unit filled with thawed, ruined food. Reason number 9, control of small appliances. You can fool potential burglars, going on vacation rather than plugging your lamps in traditional timers, causing the same pattern of lights to activate every night. You can use your home automation system to turn different lights inside the home on or off, not just lamps, and use varying patterns. just as if someone were home and turning lights on or off as they move through the house. Turn on a TV, a radio, on and off with your home automation system. You can start your coffee maker, start the microwave. You can control large appliances, ovens, stoves, refrigerators, dishwashers, washers, and dryers. Reason number 10, activate your security system. If you pay for a home security system, or if you have your own do-it-yourself solution, you can tie these devices into your home automation system, giving alerts if anything goes wrong while you're away from home. Or you can make the changes to the security system settings from anywhere with a smartphone app, giving you the option for battling potential burglars. So the bottom line is this. The next level, a $50 power outlet plug is neat, but it's hardly a complete home automation system. If you want to get into some more advanced systems, you're going to need to start choosing a network protocol that allows you the various peripherals to communicate with a central device. In our next session, next month, we will be talking about that. We will be discussing where to start, and we'll have some tips of how you can how to go about identifying what you actually want to automate in your home, and then give you some ideas of what you possibly will need to do that. So the bottom line is this: ultimately having the opportunity to give your appliances voice control or activating various features of your home automation system using a smartphone app can be incredibly convenient and can save you money over time. And it can be a lot of fun. Certainly having fun isn't the primary reason to invest in a home automation system. There's nothing wrong with having fun with technology. Rosie was always good for a few wisecracks. And now I'll be happy to take some questions.
I'd like to thank you, Bill, for a fine introduction. I think that the next few months will have lots of information and ideas for us. I'm going to be turning on or allowing people to unmute themselves, so if they would like to ask some questions or discussion. And I think we need to remember that there's 3 more presentations, so we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves with questions to ask you, because you're going to be answering all of them. But if people have general questions about the needs and some stuff, we'll be able to address some of those. One just question that came up, are there any specific home health care smarts for seniors?
And that's a good question. One of the things that I kind of later thought of is that there are some medical devices that can be associated with your home automation. In other words, you can have them where they can alert either an individual, a family member, or emergency services. So that's something that we can, that I can explore and have some of that information for you in our next session when we're talking about where do we start and what do we actually want to do. And I really apologize because the slide presentation that I had we had done, it didn't turn out to be the correct one. And when we got off and I had to come back on, I think I lost what I was intending to do, which would have given you some other ideas as well. So we will try to fix that the next time.
Judy and then Thomas.
Yep, thank you. We will be doing this again, Bill and me, with the correct presentation. I will figure out somehow to marry it with the Q&A. I haven't done that before. And you will get the correct presentation as a PDF. Carol Picard has a question about with large companies getting hacked, how can we be comfortable that someone hasn't gained control over the IoT devices in your home? And I know the answer to that one. You need to have, remember that ever popular word of a most secure username and password to your router. And Bill will expand on that.
That is a correct answer, because one of the things that makes all of this work is the fact that you use the same user ID and password that you use on all the devices. So whatever your whatever the passphrase for your internet router, that is going to be the key to all those devices. So you need to have really a fairly secure one that is safely configured, that you won't have any problems. Also, the other thing is that remember that since you're using your own Wi-Fi, is that you're basically behind a firewall. So you really don't have, there is some concern, but not as much as some people think, that would give you any particular problems. But you're on your own Wi-Fi, and that's not something that's going to be shared by anyone else.
Yeah. Thomas McAndrew, do you want to unmute yourself? Oh, Judy.
I'm going to jump in here again. I strongly encourage you to really pay attention to what I'm saying now, is when you put that wonderfully secure password together, you might want to think of doing it how your fingers go naturally, and maybe not quite make it as convoluted as you do. I have an outstandingly secure password, but to key it in, I'm all over the place. And I mean, I have to have it right there in front of me on the wall if I'm doing the thermostat or something, taped up there, because I really did it a little bit too much. And I regret that, because I have many devices attached to that password and I don't want to go around and set them all up again. So make sure you love what your wonderfully secure password is, but again, easy to key in for you, kind of naturally the way your fingers go.
And to add to Judy's comment, is that remember that you have to put that password in these devices. And I know one, they're not all the same, is that, say for instance, a Nest thermostat, you have to put in your router password, and like mine is almost a 13-digit length, and you do it by twisting a dial and pressing the numerals in, and they can be quite tedious. Mm-hmm. So when you're in the process of thinking about the password, you really don't have a whole lot of choice, because that's going to be something that's going to be set up with your router. Yep. So I'm trying to think of ways to get around that, unless you go in and completely change the router password. Bob might have some thoughts on that too, since he's really into security.
And it's over to Tom McAndrews now.
Yeah, Tom.
I just wondering, Bill, what home automation do you have at your house?
Okay, it's a good question. I presently have a Skybell, which is an internet video doorbell. It's a competitor to the Ring. Not as popular as the Ring, but nonetheless, it works basically the same. It has the video feed and all of that, and I get alerts on my phone when someone rings the bell. I have probably about 25 Hue bulbs, which are made by Philips, and they are controlled by my phone, I also have ways of being able to change the lights, the color of the lights, which I enjoy. Particularly I have 6 soffit lights on the outside of my house, and those are they come on at dusk, and I can change those to any color I want. Right now, I've been changing them to blue, so they show up blue along the house. Christmas, I change them to holiday colors. I also have a Google Mini and a Google Home, and a Logitech controller from my TV.
Christy Irwin, you had your hand up. Do you still have a question?
Yes, it's somewhat unrelated, but I need to find a text expander that's going to work with Windows and hopefully iOS devices too.
And that's in my chat box, and we're going to hold that question until we're finished with our home automation questions.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, good.
For some reason, the lower hand button isn't showing up for me.
Yeah, it's already gone.
Okay.
Dave Gerber.
Bill, I was curious to know if you had any familiarity with Alexa Guard and how that helps protect the home.
I'll start guarding now.
Alexa, no, Dave, I don't. I'm sorry, but I can. I'll do some research now. Bob has some. Apparently, has some experience with it. Bob.
Yeah, if you have I'm not going to say her whole name because those whistles and everything else go off in this house. But when you leave your home, just say, Miss A, I am leaving. And she'll answer, and she'll tell you, okay, I'll start guarding your home. And what that does is any other things that you may have tied into Miss A, they will now start doing things in the background. And Miss A will start listening for things like maybe your smoke alarm goes off or your fire alarm or some other things go off. And when those things happen, you get notified on your smartphone. You're not home, but you still get to find out what's going on. She will also, if it's nighttime, turn on any lights that might be hooked up, randomize them, so people really don't know whether you're home or not home. If you have speakers and stuff or radio hooked in with it, it'll start playing music and do all kinds of things. So people will actually think you're home. Now, it's not designed to be a full security device, but it sure does an awful lot of things that make people who might come past your house think that there's actually somebody in the house. Once you come back home, you simply say, I'm home, and she'll tell you, say, okay, I'll stop guarding your house. That's it.
Yeah, one of the other things that it will do is it will also tell you if there's any if it picks up any glass breaking. If anybody's trying to break in your house by smashing glass, it'll alert you to that as well.
Correct.
It's free.
And one of the things too that this conversation has brought up is that when you're thinking about home automation, you need to research the advantages or disadvantages of the devices that are on the market. Like the competitor for Alexa is the Google Home. Now it doesn't have that feature that we just discussed, not yet. But when you're when we're talking about where do I start, we'll go into how to look at the various benefits of having one device over another. Now, that's not to say you can't have both. Some people do have both a Google Home and an Alexa, and they will coexist with one another.
Hey, my friend Gabe.
Hi, great presentation. A question that's probably a suggestion for the next 3 sessions is talking about security, because
We're going
obviously the more things you put online, the more you're exposed, and different devices have different attack surfaces, different risk profiles. But a specific suggestion I wanted to offer on Wi-Fi, most routers let you set up a guest network, which is completely separate from all of your computers and other critical devices. And so there's no reason to put all of the new IoT devices on the same network as your computers, as your backup disks, all of those things. If you put your IoT devices on your guest network, they can happily talk to each other, and your Wi-Fi, your phone or your tablet can happily talk to all of the devices, and they're all firewalled quite reliably from the crown jewels, from the devices that you actually want to care about. And just one other comment back on Judy's talking about the complexity of entering passwords. There's nothing like having to enter a very complicated passphrase on a device that requires you to use a very unintuitive on-screen keyboard. And of course, all of the manufacturers design their keyboards in different ways. Some have the letters in alphabetical order, some have them in the normal QWERTY typewriter keyboard order. And so that's just another fun aspect of putting all of these things online, where there's really no standardization of signing them onto your network.
That's a good, Dave. And you
Pam,
have to have lots of data.
Pam would like to know, do you have to have internet or just Bluetooth? Or just router connection with Bluetooth for in-house connections only?
For in-house connection to be able to access any of your devices from your phone, you're going to have internet access. Bluetooth has very limited distance or range, and it's not really suitable for any long-range works. That Bluetooth would only probably work within your house, and I know in my case it doesn't work reliably. So I don't think Bluetooth is a reliable alternative. You definitely need Wi-Fi.
We're talking about Internet of Things. So we're talking about internet connection, and that means Wi-Fi.
Right.
I've got a good question for you, Bill. You probably will be covering it in the next few, but just to give us a heads up, talk about the cost of implementing this. It kind of seems like we could get into thousands of dollars of equipment.
Actually, John, that's a good question, but it just depends on how elaborate you want your system. You can have as little as $100 to $15,000. Just depends on what you're using for your devices. But to get just simple light bulbs to light your to use lights, you're probably talking less than $200 to get everything set up. And the thing about it is that the lights are all going to be LEDs, so they're going to last for 10 to 15 years. So you'll be saving some money in that aspect alone.
All right. To repeat, because some of us have ears that we don't hear well, what's the name of the camera that you have on your door?
Skybell.
Okay. And
now the competitors are Ring. There's I think there's a third brand, but the most popular one today is Ring. Now, the reason why I chose the Skybell over the Ring is because it has free data collection. In other words, I don't have to pay to store the video footage. It just comes with the device. They don't charge for that. Where the Ring, in order to keep it for any definite time, there's a charge for it. So that was my rationale for buying the Ring.
Okay, and the
Nest is the other one. I forgot. There's a Nest doorbell too.
Yeah. What's the spelling for the Sky one? Is it just
SKYBELL?
Okay, so just like a Sky Bell. And when Bob was talking about Miss A, what is that a different device that goes with Miss A to do that security?
Well, no, that's it's just ALEX IA, and
No I.
no, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, XA. So when you mention her name, she tends to respond the same as mentioning Mr. G. He
Yeah.
tends to respond.
Okay, so it wasn't something extra to be able to have that security. I'll watch your house for you.
No, it's built in. It's one of the routines, or they call skills in the Alexa world.
Okay.
Yeah, Bill, this is Dave Gerber again. One of the benefits that I find in using the Ring is that it works alongside Miss A. And if you have a video capable Miss A device, you could just say, show me the front door, and the Ring video will appear on your device. So you're not tied into your phone all the time.
That's a good point, and we're going to talk about some of that when we're getting to the month 4, we're doing it yourself and having it done. We're going to talk about getting compatible devices that work well together, because it's still rather you have to decide what ecosystem you want to use. If you want to be in the Mr. G ecosystem or the Miss A ecosystem, it kind of depends on what you want to do. But like I said before, is that it doesn't hurt. You can mix them. I just have the one system going, but you can mix them and they work quite well.
Yeah, I have both for different reasons.
Yes.
I have 2 comments. Pam says there are additional charges with each device. For example, the Ring doorbell charges a monthly fee. And Warren said Blink, B-L-I-N-K, is another front door or in-house camera, and it's free to connect it to your Wi-Fi.
Judy, I pay nothing for my Ring doorbell. I would have to pay if I wanted them to monitor it, if I wanted things stored. But I simply use it as a convenience, and I tell Miss A to look at my front door. And so I pay nothing extra except for the cost of the device itself.
Anybody else have any questions? You can unmute yourself, and then because we have so many people on our screen, identify yourself.
Yes, don't be.
Hi, it's Ellie. I sent up a question for the series bill. If you could please address the proprietary versus the open Wi-Fi systems and allowing mixing, matching. You've touched on a little bit of that between for brands of appliance controllers. So are you stuck into a Zigbee or a Z10 or one of the other?
We're going to talk about now there's a bunch of protocols that are associated with these devices, like Zigbee. I can't remember all of them, but I have a list. We're going to talk about those next month when we talk about when do we start. But the X10 now is proprietary. It doesn't work with anything other than X10 devices. I believe they have a Wi-Fi module now that you can monitor some of their models on your phone. But as far as it being able to control other devices, that's not possible. Although it's probably the least expensive of the home automation kinds of devices, it's not one that you want to. It's expandable with itself and within itself, but it's not expandable to using a Miss A or Mr. G.
I have some X10 devices. I'm just wondering, is there a program now available? But my program died, I think, at 2000 or something when they switched something. And I got all these devices around the house and no way to turn them on and off.
There is when I was looking at the X10 website, there is some updates as far as having a Wi-Fi controller. I don't know how it works or much about it, but that is something that they have introduced. So you might go on their website and check out what they have available.
Okay, thank you. I thought the program was just dead.
No, it's still viable, and they still have a website and all kinds of gadgets and devices available for the X10 ecosystem.
Paul says he's heard of external door camera or ring units being removed by intruders. Any way to avoid this?
That's a good question. I really don't have an answer. I know that the Ring doorbells have kind of a security screw that you can't really readily remove them. I'm not so sure if that's on the cameras themselves, the outdoor cameras. But I would assume if they've done it for the doorbells, they would have done it for the cameras as well.
They probably bought one and now have that special screwdriver, and they can now use that on other people's.
Right. But and I really don't have a good answer to that. I just know that the doorbell does have a odd way of, you can't remove it readily without having a certain type of screwdriver.
Other questions for this introductory presentation?
I will have another cautionary tale. I'm a fan of smart light bulbs, and I bought a bunch of the GE, and by the time I got around to putting them all together, of course, it was too late to return them when I was on a Zoom meeting, and my entire family room where I am sitting was orange. And they're the kind that they change with whatever time of day it is. And in the evening, I have this nice orange glow all over me. And I was so sad because I'm having to go back to my Wemo plugs that I was going to use for everything else. So I have a whole bunch of GE bulbs hanging around that, like I said, I love them, but I'm going to use them in other areas of the house. But didn't work where I'm using my computer and being on Zoom as much as I am.
Yeah, you might want to get ones that do not change color, just get the standard glow or whatever they would call them. And that would probably solve your problem. But one of the things about the LED bulbs that you buy, they are fairly pricey, and you're talking about maybe $15 to $16 a bulb in some instances if it's just a standard white bulbs, but the color bulbs can go up to like $25. But like I said, again, they are LEDs and they will last incredibly a long time. So you don't really lose too much in that. But in selecting your devices and things, you really do need to do a little bit of research on your own as far as knowing exactly what your intent is going to be, how you're going to use it, and then go from there. But I think the best beginning is start out with lights. Those are the easiest ones to work with, and you'll get kind of a feel as to what home automation is all about. And as you learn more about it, you can start adding more things to it.
And one of them did not fit into an existing, it would only screw in so far, and then it would not go all the way in. So for that lamp, a smart bulb like I bought from GE doesn't work. So it's been an interesting experience.
Well, it can be an expensive experience too if you're not really careful. You end up getting something that you really can't use. But for the most part, these devices are becoming compatible with one another. So you're not at a total, you're not out in the wilderness when you're pursuing this. But you are pretty much on your own because you're going to be your own technician. And I really think that's the best way. If you get, I know I talked with someone recently, they had someone come in and do all of theirs for them. And then they got to a point they wanted to make some changes and they didn't know how to do it. And so they had to rely on this individual to come back or this company to come back and do that for them. And it was probably something very simple that if they were involved in the installation, they would have known how to do.
And Carol Picard's comment is, which is what I was thinking, if someone does take the Ring doorbell, you have a good picture of them.
I know somebody who uses the camera on the lights that are on the side of the garage. So it's pointing towards the front door and not right at the front door. And so that's one way to not have them take it from the door.
You know, it's I know it's interesting is that they will record because there's been a bee that's got on the doorbell and triggered the camera, and the bell rings, and I look, and there's this insect that's crawling on the camera face, and so they're pretty sensitive. And one thing about them is that all the camera devices particularly are always available on demand. So if you're curious about what's taking place in front of your home, outside your home, or inside, you can go to the app and access it, and it will show you, give you that information.
And one thing Bill didn't tell you, his house is highly a smartphone home, but when he goes to the Dominican Republic for vacation, he can control everything from there with his Samsung phone.
Yeah, I can. That's one of the benefits about particularly heating and air. I can control that from any given place, as well as the lights. And that can be a big advantage, particularly when if you leave the house, there are safe levels where you can control the temperature. You don't want it to go fall below a certain degree if it's winter time, or you don't want it to go over a certain degree in summer. But there's a point where it's just a safe area where you just don't need to have the air or heat on, and you can just completely shut it off. And then when you arrive at a certain point that you feel that, well, I think I'd like to come home to a warm house, then you can fire up the units to cool or heat.
Yeah, Bill, Dave Gerber again. I don't know if this is true today, because I've had my Ring doorbell for a number of years now. And when I first got it, there was part of their, I guess, warranty or guarantee that if the device got stolen, you'd get a free replacement. Now, I don't know if that.
I've heard that. I don't know if they're still honoring that, but I did hear that. You just have to check their website to see if they're still doing that.
Yeah.
I think that was true with the Sky Bell as well. That I could get it replaced if it got stolen.
That's probably only true if it's monitored.
I'm sorry?
That's probably only true if it's on the monitoring system. If you don't have the monitoring system, I doubt that would be true.
Okay.
Hey, Bill, I want to thank you for this great presentation. I wanted to just say I have an air cleaner in my living room. And I would like if you could include that in some of the devices you mentioned, because it's absolutely fabulous. You can control everything from the filters to the fan speed, and it's something that people might want to use. Thanks.
And it's a smart device?
Totally smart device. Uses an app, has a dedicated app, Wi-Fi.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I had gone and added some things to my PowerPoint where I found there was even a remote control dog feeder. There was a remote control litter box where you can do all these kinds of things. And I don't know what happened. When my PowerPoint froze, I lost which version I was working on. So that's my fault. I did that at the kind of last minute this morning. So that's really my bad. But anyway.
JJ, do you have an automatic cat litter cleaner?
I have the automatic cat cleaner and I have the automatic cat feeder. I have cats and dogs.
Outstanding. Cats needed representation along with the dogs because Bill only has a dog.
So Dwight, can you share with us what automation you might have?
I have Ring pretty much throughout my house. I have a mixture. For years and years, I've been going with these cameras. I've had going through about 5 or 6 different types of cameras. But right now I have about 4 Ring cameras in my house, 1 Ring doorbells, front door, side door, and a couple throughout the house, especially on ground level entrance windows. I also have the ecobee thermostat, which is smart. And I'm also, for my home security, is also a Ring system, which integrates with Alexa. Like when you tell Alexa I'm leaving, it automatically sets the security system within the house. And I also have a couple of Arlo cameras outside in my driveway, and they have the motion detection, so I can see anybody coming up around the house, in the driveway area. So I'm pretty secure with cameras.
What do you use for lighting?
I have a couple of hue lights floating around. I also have the My Blinds, which in my front kitchen and living room, open and close the blinds at certain times of day, and I can automatically control those with an app on my phone.
Nice.
Does anyone else have some devices that they'd like to share?
Bill, I don't have a device. This is Connie Lang. But the people that have all these devices, and I experienced it last week, when you have a power outage for 7 hours, everything always doesn't work. And each individual will have to see what happens to their device and area when they have a power outage.
Well, typically, I mean, if you have a power outage, regardless of whether it is automated or not, you're not going to have, use of that usage of that device. But the thing that's nice about them is that in most cases, that when the power comes back on, the device automatically reconnects. So you don't have to really fumble with trying to get them to connect. They just automatically will connect back to the Wi-Fi and be operational.
That's right, but if you try to do things and they don't work, like our Wi-Fi didn't work, and even the cell phones were blank at times last week. It just happens.
Yeah, I mean, but that's something that is going to happen in normal course, whether it's automated or not. I mean, you just won't have usage.
No, I'm just saying people should be prepared for something like that.
Oh, well, that's true. Now, in my case, I'll share this with you, is that my router is actually on my my battery backup, so that I will, if the internet is still functioning, I will still be able to have some of the devices working until the battery backup fails.
Okay.
I've had that happen before, is that when the lights were out, my Wi-Fi was still working because it was unaffected by the electrical outage, because the cable folks probably has a generator of some sort, so they can keep their business operational. So as a result, as long as my battery backup worked, I still had internet access.
I'm the same with you. I have the UPS battery backup on my security systems, and most of my Ring cameras got batteries in them, so they'll last for a while. And I also have a battery backup on my main computer, which is the one I'm using up here right now. So if I lose power, at least I'm online for at least about an hour or so or more.
Yeah, at least for an hour. In a lot of cases, unless it's extreme, you know, the power outage doesn't. Of course, I know there are situations and cases where it's been several hours, but for most of the time, it's usually 15, 20, 30 minutes.
You haven't been to Florida recently.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm in Florida and haven't had a power outage.
Yeah, I think
I'm
in
in Florida
California,
and
you
haven't
guys
had
have
any
those,
power outages. So
you have those rolling blackouts or whatever they call them.
no, we don't. We
That's
haven't had
in
any
California.
blackouts. That's California,
Oh,
not
okay.
Florida.
That's why
So
we have.
Connie, where do you live?
I live
Punta
in
Gorda, Florida. Punta Gorda, Florida is between Sarasota and Fort Myers.
Oh, okay.
I have a question. This is Peter Mock over. Are there any doorbells that are not battery powered? One of my particular situation is I spend about half the year my home in New Jersey and the other half my home in Florida. So I can easily be away from one of the homes for 6 months or more. Do the batteries last that long, or are there any that are AC powered or power over Ethernet?
Well,
anything other than battery?
The Ring has a version.
Yeah,
the Ring has a
comes
version
in
that
two versions.
yeah, the Ring has a version that you can hardwire into your doorbell, your existing doorbell, if you have existing doorbell. I have a Ring camera in my backyard, and it has the solar panel on that one.
Are there any that are power over Ethernet?
Not to my knowledge.
But like it was said, the Ring doorbell can be, you can set it up to use battery, or it can be hot wired into your existing doorbell wiring.
Right, and it all depends on how your house was built. Like in my case, I had a wired doorbell, so I just attached my Sky Bell to the existing wiring. But if you don't have a wired doorbell, then you have to go with the battery one.
Hey, I'd like to answer Peter's question. Peter, Mark Martin here. What you can do is you can get a smart plug for the battery backup, and then you can turn it off when you're not here, or turn it on. You have that power. So that's just an idea. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Mark.
I'm changing batteries in my Ring doorbells about every 5 to 6 months.
The battery will last longer if it's set to trigger activity less often. So
yes.
If you set it for a wide range, you're going to get a car driving by is going to initiate the camera, and that will eat up your battery.
Yes, I have that problem on Thursday when the garbage truck go by. Other than that, my front door usually gets the mailman, and my side door gets the UPS and the Prime guy.
Yeah, I think of course, the Sky Bell is either I don't think they have a battery version. I think they're all wired, but in the settings, there are different options that you can go in to limit its capabilities or functionality to benefit whatever situation you're in.
Yeah, in the Ring doorbells, you can set sections, areas that you wanted to detect, and you can also set the distance, how far out. And if you go through the setup, it asks you, if it's on steps, or do you have steps, and how far are you from the street and everything. But you can set, 15, 20, 30 feet out, how far you want to detect, and after that, here again, it will work fine.
You said you had to change your battery every 6 months?
Yes, the ones for my side door and my front door, I change about every 6 months. I'm changing batteries. Usually I change before winter and in the spring. I'm good.
I just charge mine.
Well, yeah, you charge. Well, I have extra batteries, so what I do is swap batteries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are there any systems that have rechargeable units?
Yes.
Rechargeable.
Yes, the Ring has rechargeable batteries.
Thank
and
you.
like I said, the one I have in the backyard has a solar panel on it, so it keeps charging. But it's sitting up high on the house, and just looking at the backyard.
That's a good idea, Dwight.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that complicated to set up through the solar charger?
The complication was getting on a ladder and climbing up that high.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Pacific one that's designed to run on solar.
Yes.
So it's not something you add to it. It's built into the unit.
It's one of the spotlight cameras.
Ah, okay.
But it has batteries in it, but the solar panel, which is separate, you hook it up to the camera and it keeps it charged. And I've had that up now for well over a year.
Yeah, the Ring Video Doorbell has the same feature. You have to buy, it's an add-on.
Yes.
Which is it's a frame that frames the video camera that will add solar power to it. Now I don't remember. I think it costs like $40, $45.
I had that on my front door, but my front door wasn't getting enough sunlight, so I took it off.
Right.
Any other questions that can be answered today? Otherwise, we will look forward to sessions 2, 3, and 4 for more specific details and really getting into, down dirty in it.
I just wanted to say that I use the Mr. G and the Mrs. A in my home all over. And they are wonderfully cooperative with each other. I can use them indiscriminately. They work with, either one works with everything. So I just wanted to mention that. I'm sure it will be covered later on. Thanks.
Yeah, I need to try that. I only have the one, but I have heard that that they will work. They will coexist with one another. So
they cooperate with.
Cooperate with one another.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really interesting, is that even though the two are in competition with one another, is that one has its advantages over the other. One will do things that the other one will not do, and vice versa. So it might behoove you to think about getting one of each.
I agree with you.
Pardon?
I agree with you. They're both very valuable in different ways.
I have approximately, I think, 5 Mrs. A's installed throughout my house. Just recently installed one in the bathroom to turn on the bathroom lights and the music.
Which one do you have, Dwight?
I got that the Alexa Flex, which is new.
Oh.
and it just plugs in, and actually I have it working with a couple lights in the bathroom, so it turns the lights on, and I have a boom box which I've had for years in the bathroom, so you get music and lights when you walk in.
Yeah, one of the things about the, basically they are speakers, and they were actually primarily designed to play music. But then this additional benefits came about where they can control things. I remember when Amazon was first promoting Alexa, and as a speaker, I had no idea what it was. In fact, a lot of individuals were able to get one for free because Amazon was wanting to test those. But I could never figure out exactly what it was or what it did until years later.
As a member of the VTC, that sounds like a good presentation for somebody to come up with and tell me exactly why would I need both of them and not just one. So somebody needs to think about that.
I have an opening in November. If somebody would like to do that. I'm looking for fun presentations